Hi everybody, Kirk here with Space Pickle Designs, and today I have a really super simple, beginner-friendly peyote stitch ring that we're going to use the 11-0 rounds from the Sam's Bead Box. And we are going to make a cherry blossom ring. So what I've done in preparation for this is I have made the pattern, and so this is what she looks like. She's pretty cute. You need to see a bigger picture. Can kind of freeze that. So this is a repeating pattern, and we're only going to use 3 colors. There are 4 colors in the mix, but we are going to use 3, and I'm going to use the white, the pink, and the red for this. So I do have the pattern. So if you want the PDF version of the pattern, all you have to do is send me an email and say, I want that cherry blossom ring pattern, and I will send this over to you. And I also have a Loomery file, so that if you use the Loomery app, you can just import the file into your app and you'll be able to use it to mark stitches off, etc., etc. And so yeah, let's get started. So I have my pliers to flatten out some of my wildfire. I have a size 10 needle who's seen better days for sure. I have a stop bead that is not a color in the pattern. I have my tube of 11-0s, and I have a lighter. So my wildfire here is perfect. It's a 0.006, so still pretty sturdy, and she's a pink. She's pink. So I had to use her, and so what I want to do now is go ahead and get my wildfire ready. And so you're going to need about an arm length of thread. If you're a little bit nervous, just go about a little bit extra, 3 to 4 feet, in order to make your ring. I am using a small piece of thread because I am just going to show you one repeat of the pattern and then show you the ring at the end. So instead of you having to watch me pull thread, this long piece of thread through, I'm just trying to do you a little bit of a courtesy and just do the one little pattern that you can repeat on your own. And so I do have this wildfire thread, and I take my flat pliers and I flatten out the edge, and I flatten out about 1/4 of an inch. And then I take my needle, all right. And so that 1/4 of an inch kind of allows that to go through enough to where you can pull your thread through with your pliers. At this point, what I like to do is put my stop bead on, and I am going to leave, on my actual working piece, I left about a 4-inch tail, and that's overkill by a long mile, but it's better to have a little bit of overkill than not enough. So for this little demonstration here, I'm just gonna leave about that much. So I'm gonna pull out my beads, and here is the lovely bead mix from Sam's Bead Shop, and these are 11-0 rounds. A lot of peyote uses delicas, but you can use rounds. It's just, they don't pop into place as easily, but we're going to show just like a little bit of a trick. I call it a trick anyways, on how to kind of get that second row started. So what I'm going to do is pick up 1A, which I'm using as the white, 3C, which is going to be the pink, and then 1A. So this is actually your first 2 rows. Bring that down. And as you would start any peyote stitch, we have our beads like this. And the first bead we want to pick up is an A, which is the white. And then you're going to go into that first pink bead. Now, this is where my trick comes in, okay? I do hold this thread. I do not pull it tight just yet, okay? It kind of helps give me a little bit of stability. At this point, I'm going to pick up one of the B's, which is the red. I'm going to skip over this middle pink bead, go into the next pink bead, and make sure it's sitting on the right side. You can kind of try to juggle them side by side, this pink and the red together here a little bit. And then we want to take our A bead, which is our C. Take one of those, and because this is odd count peyote, we have to go in to the other A bead, and then I like to go down the pink and the red that we put on. Okay, now at this point I take my finger off, I cover my piece, I pull my thread down, and I pull it as much as I can, and now you've kind of got your rows situated. What we want to do, since we are trying to go and execute the next row, we have to position our thread to where it's coming down through this white bead, okay? And so what I do, in the middle bead, this red bead, I just transverse across into the pink bead here. Okay, now we're coming out of that pink bead. And then for the last 2 rows, I go into the pink bead and into that first A bead. And I do that in one little swoop here. All right. So I tighten everything up. You can pull on the side with your stop bead. That helps a lot. And then now you are in position to where you just cross over into that white bead or bead A. So that last bead on your 3rd row, if you're looking at the pattern. Okay, so now you're in position to go 4th row. And on the 4th row, you do 2 of color C, which is pink. So I'm gonna pick up a pink, go down into the red, tighten, another pink, go down into the white. And from here, we don't have to do any fancy like roundabout or anything like that. We're in position in order to order another bead. So row 5, we have 1 A, we're going into the up bead of the pink. We have 1 C, which is a pink bead. Okay, going into the next pink bead. And then we have an A. So what we're gonna do with the A, we have to do this little loop-de-loop again, right? So I got my A on the thread, going into the previous row's A. I'm gonna go diagonally down through those next 2 beads. So I'm in the middle row. I like, on this pattern especially, to go down through that next bead. So I'm in the middle row, I just transverse across into the red bead. And now again, we have a pink bead and a white bead that we're gonna go through like this, okay? Push all the way through. And now we just put our needle into position in order to execute the next row. So at this point, we add one of the A's, another one of the A's, and now we're at the part of the pattern where we don't have to do a fancy turnaround. The bottom part, if you're holding your piece and you don't flip it like some artists do, you will notice that you only have to do the loop-de-loop roundabout on the top and not on the bottom. I find that this is pretty easy to get used to on this particular pattern because it is very simple and it repeats. All right, so I picked up an A. I'm going into the next A. We got another A. Going into that up A, the previous row. And now we got to do our loop-de-loop roundabout. And I'm going to go in through the previous row's A and down through 3 of those beads, just like that. So now we just knock our bead in place. Okay, we're in the middle. The previous middle bead is a pink. So we go through that one. And then we're going to take our needle and go through the next 2, as you can see here. Push it through. Now you put your needle in position to execute the next row. At this point, we're going to add another C, or another A, I'm sorry, a white bead. another white bead. And what you're looking for here so if you're not a big pattern follower, you're getting lost or whatever, right? What you're looking for is, in order to start the next row with the pink bead that starts the next flower, this is what you're looking for in terms of white. And so how I like to describe it is you have in the middle, you have this X of white, okay? Once the X is completed here, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, that's when you know your next row needs to have a pink bead. So no fancy loop-de-loops on this one. We just pick up an A, go into that up bead A, and this is where we start our flower again. Okay, so we have our pink going through the up bead A, and now we got to do our special loop-de-loop using another white bead, right? So now I'm just going down through my 3, put that bead in place, and I'm going to go a little faster now, just so I can show you the flow. So if I'm not explaining it, I will show the flow, and this is kind of what you'll get after a few rounds of practice. So you will get the hang of this. It's just those first couple rows that are like, what am I doing? Like, this feels a little weird. You know, a lot of our beginner peyote patterns are using even count, which is super simple. No need to do loop-de-loops, roundabouts, any of that. Our next one, like I said, not going to explain it too much here. You'll have the pattern, and this is the flow of the piece. All right, so what you'll do is continue to work all the way until you're almost at the ring size that you need. So I want you to complete the flowers, right? So we want to have complete flowers. And so I have my sample here. And for a size 7, which is what I'm at right now, about 7, 7.5, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 flowers. Okay, so I am ready to close my ring, and I will show you how to do that. And also, if you are not reaching exactly your ring size, but you know that you can't actually fit another flower, or you don't want to, you don't have enough beads, whatever, make sure you finish one of the flowers, and I'll show you what to do next. So I have my last flower completed. And so that last row I did was A, C, A, and I'm in position to start the next. So what I would do is, at this point, make sure to add my row of 2 A beads, at least, right? So I'm going to start swapping around. I got another A bead. And another A bead. Now I got to get myself into position. I'm doing a loop-de-loop here. Now we're in position to add another row of A. So you're on your 2 with A. So add an A, go through the middle, another A, go through that bottom bead. Okay? So now, if you wanted to close your ring, you can do so by just bringing it around and zippering. It's so super simple. And for my my like 7.5 ring size, this works absolutely perfectly. There's no gap, right? So this looks like a seamless ring, and this is what I'm gonna do for myself. But I did want to explain to you that if you're like an 8 and you know you can't add another flower or it's just too much or whatever, just add a couple rows of the white bead to add your like little extender part to where you're sizing. So what you can do is say like you need to add 5 more rows of white. As long as you're ending on the row that has 2 up beads of the white in rows 2 and 4, you will be able to zipper it up onto your flower. Okay, so get your sizing right. Add as many white beads on this back side as you need to. This will be what is on the underside of your ring, so people will not even be seeing that. So you will have your flowers all the way around, except for that little spot in the back where you're using it as a sizer area. So to just close this up, I'm putting my other side together, and this is like a little tricky part just to hold them. Right, and you just want to make sure that they're not zigzag, crisscrossed, whatever. And so I'm coming out of this bottom white, extend over into the other end. Let me get this string out of the way. You can pull it tight. We're going to go back over to the first side. And you don't have to pull too tight. We're zippering. Go back to the other side, the up bead, the up pink bead. Right. Go back to the other side, the other up white bead. Okay. The other side, that last white bead. And then I go down in to the opposite side here to this white bead. And at this point, I do hold and I pull on the tail thread as well as the working thread. So your ring is together, but do not rely on that one pass alone because it's a little sketchy. So what I do, I go around, I go through that pass again, and you can, it's pretty easy to grab 2 or 3 beads at a time at this point. You just want to make sure that you're zigging and zagging and you're working your thread down through the piece. Okay, I'm going to cross back over. My opinion, the key to this is to make like loops in your beads with your tail thread. So like if I'm going through this bead, I can go through here and cross it around, right? Or back and forths, because that's really what's going to help that, you know, strength. Okay. And this is like the super fun part because it's like, you know, you were there. So again, I kind of go ham on these little loop-de-loops. Right. At this point, for this working thread, I've done enough. You can actually tie, and I'll just show you how. So I just grab one of the thread bridges in here, and I will do 1 knot. Okay. Just like that. And then cutting away from my tail, I'm going back through a couple beads just to get away from my knot. I'll go through this red bead and I will push my needle through the inside of the work, the inside of the ring. I like doing this. So at this point, you can cut really close or you can burn it, however you want to do. I'm just gonna cut really close. I don't find the need, I just don't think I need to burn it, but it is an option. And so you do have your tail thread left, right? What you're gonna do is the same stuff. and I'm gonna work it in the opposite direction. So I'm gonna take this little tail, work it in the opposite direction, push it through the middle, and cut it off. All right, so here is my ring. Look how cute she is. She's a very, you know, beginner-friendly ring. Especially if you've done some even count peyote and you kind of want to like dabble into some odd count. So let's see what she looks like. Perfect. So I do wear a size 7, 7.5 on this this hand here. And so if you do that amount of flowers, then you will have pretty much a size 7 ring. So let me know what you think about this one. I did want to show you real quick what I had left over of my bead mix. As you can see, I ran through the white pretty good, but if you wanted to use that other color, which was like a clearish AB, you could make probably 2 rings. And with this one tube here, you could also do alternating cherry blossoms, which would be really cute. So you could have a pink flower with a red middle, a red flower with a pink middle, you know, go back and forth with that. And so I thought this was a really fun little project that we could do with our Sam's Bead Box without having to, you know, buy any more supplies. You know, just make with what we get in the box. And that's what I try to do that pretty often. So here's what we have left over. We probably used about 1/4 of the beads. And so yeah, I would love for you to try this. If you do, please tag me on social media. And if you enjoy this product or project after you do it, please join us over on Patreon, because I did add I wouldn't say it's more complicated. It's actually probably easier, but it's a larger project. Again, it's a cherry blossom project using 3 colors. You will have to buy more beads than this or use whatever that you have in your stash. You could use delicas, you could use 11 rounds. Either a 10 or 11 would work. And yeah, I would love to have you over at the Patreon, because I did post another really cool pattern over there. So anyway, let me know what you think about this ring down in the comments below, and I hope you're staying safe and well, and I will see you guys in the next one, hopefully tomorrow. Bye.